D1, just get with friends and spend coins on the summoning altar and the dreadnought. It was fun, just mindlessly killing stuff. No doubt, and you got a lot of gear. A lot of glimmer. You could pop your 3 coins and get exotic engrams, and there was so much loot at that point in D1 that you never knew what you were gonna get. And like Tyrell's talking about, min-maxing a character for either raiding and doing heroic strikes to put DPS out because the PvE was on point at that point, or PvP, trying to outdamage and outclass and outgun your buddy. That's all gone because they put everybody on an equal playing field. Random rolls are gone. The ability to build a unique character is gone, especially because there's only a top slot and a bottom slot compared to once where there was a full skill tree, and then you would incorporate that full skill tree with armor, exotic armor, and your armor rules, discipline, intelligence, etc. You combine that with perks, you combine that with your build, you combine that with your exotic. Boom, you had a completely unique guardian. Now it's either top tree or bottom tree, PvP tree or PvE tree. Are you running your Nameless Midnight? Check. Are you running your Mida? Check. All right, you just check the box, and all this shit is so easy to get. And so everybody ends up playing exactly the same. And it's a game you're done with in 30 hours. And to me, again, the biggest question here is, how does Vivendi, the monopoly, the juggernaut, give Bungie $500 million and 800 employees? And Bungie, this is not a dev, that's a fucking indie. It's not an untested studio. This is Halo and Marathon and many other things, and they're legendary. They're plenty rich. How does a studio like that produce something this shallow and this shitty compared to Stellaris, Pokemon Red and Blue? We can go through any game. D2, still shitting on D2 just because it pisses off a lot of people. It's not just me. It can be okay to play, but just pisses off me and many others. Tyrell, it's such a fucking sham. Can't join raid. Why can't you join? Oh, you're out of yen, Mythic. You're out of yen.
How are you out of yen? He's giving you like 4,000 yen.
I mean, Shadow, the game is such a shit bag. The game is such a fucking shit. It's a $60 game we've paid $100 for, where you can't even replay campaign missions. It has 3 strikes that you can't choose to play. The strikes give you coins that give you the same armor that you get just by default, just by playing all the time. You sit around, you collect tokens, you feel no progression. They completely scrap the reputation system. It has 2 playlists. Tyrell bought Uno for Kyle and I. We go into Uno. Uno has ranked leaderboards. Destiny 2, $60, AAA, biggest release of the year, biggest money behind it, 800 people behind it, the whole gaming world behind it, 2 playlists. Get fucked. There's no penalty for quitting. You can jump in a game, the competitive, it's longer, it's more complicated, same exact rewards as the casual though. You can quit, there's no punishment, you just pop into another one. You can play for 1 hour, be done with your weekly milestones. The raid is about the buggiest fucking thing you've ever encountered in gaming. When they tried to fix the one bug that was this stupid ass exploit, the only reason they would possibly shut down the game is because of this single exploit where you could make ads not spawn. If you had Larry quit the game and then pull his Ethernet cord out, Susie had to kill all the ads and the dogs had to be spawned, you had to pop a 3 coin, you could somehow not have ads. Oh my god, it might affect our raid. It might affect the raid leaderboard. Who's going to be first in the raid? And they do this, and then what happens is your buddies don't load in anymore. I sure am glad they fixed that, so the significance of the one day in the 1 year when we might have a first in the world in the raid, I'm glad we got that under control so that the rest of us, 99% of us, have our buddies not load into the raid, so that we have to change Guardian leaders, we have to drop out of orbit, we have to load the game, quit the game, just so we can do another attempt. It has 1 raid.
Then you have to run through the fucking thing and reopen the door.
Destiny
Time you left.
1 had 5 raids. 5!
Now I'm talking about like after you quit, like don't load up. Like our people don't load up. We would quit the game and then you have to come back into the raid. Like we would leave the raid, come back into the raid. You would have to start at the very beginning, run back up the thing, go back and fight the door.
This is in D2, right? In the Callus raid?
Yeah. Yeah. You know that if you leave the Kalos right, if you leave at any point, like at the Kalos checkpoint, you won't spawn at his checkpoint. You won't spawn at the door to fight Kalos. You would spawn at the very beginning, like you would normally, like a fresh raid.
Fucking terrible.
That's where you spawn, and then you would have to run back and do the door again.
It's like, okay, they invested money in two systems, two big systems, big new additions to D2, full-fledged sequel, even though where your 6v6 became 4v4 and your 24 strikes became 3 strikes. Guided games in Lost Sectors. Tyrell. Lost Sectors. That's just a part of the patrols. Adventures. Tyrell. How many adventures have you done?
Enough to level up the hunter, and then I stopped doing it.
Tyrell, how much have you enjoyed guided games?
I haven't done it. I sat in orbit for like 30 minutes and didn't even get anything. I just left.
They added matchmaking. This was significant. This took them 3 years and all that money and 800 people to do. It's called guided games. Instead of putting an LFG system in that's in any other game, in fact, your Xbox app has a better built-in system than what they've designed. What you can do is you can queue into guided games if you have a clan. You will then eventually, in about an hour to 45 minutes or more, eventually get a group. They won't tell you whether you are guiding or seeking. Maybe you were looking for a match, maybe you were hoping to seek people. You are then expected to do a raid blind together and are given no checkpoints. Now, you've already spent an hour in orbit plus just waiting to get people. Now let's talk about the communication headache, let alone now the process of teaching someone completely new to the raid, and they didn't give you a checkpoint. I think it was worth the money, Tyrell. What do you think? We could have solved cancer. We probably could have fucking solved world hunger with the amount of money this game cost. And so we got guided.
Cure cancer.
And it has microtransactions in it. The coolest things in the game are behind the Eververse store. Right? Like I said, Dado put out a great video on it. And he thinks the end game is the microtransactions, which is really shitty. The only advantage is you can grind for these things. But the coolest looking things in the game, the armor, the ghosts, the ships, the shaders, are all behind Everest. Now, there's not a raid Sparrow. There's not a raid ship. There's not even unique raid gear. When they released the Prestige raid, what they did is they have the exact same armor set, except it's gold instead of white, and you can get an emblem. The emblem doesn't even count how many raids you've done. There's no stat tracking whatsoever. Why? Because that shit's in the Eververse store.
Oh, you guys went back in. Oh, I'm sitting here like, all right. Wait.
Yeah, sorry, just keep loading in. Just the more I think about that game, the more it's been pissing me off. HL conversation. 5 raids over 3 years. D1. Like Kyle. Kyle gets so pissed at the game because it was supposed to be a 10-year journey. That's